speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. I'm 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 who you with, Kirk, dog. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, dog. I'm who you with, Kirk, dog. Hopefully y'all had a great day. Happy Tuesday to you. I want to welcome everyone on the show on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, Twitter, D Live is always in the house. Welcome to the show. You can live chat with us during the show. Hopefully, whichever platform you're on, that you take the time to follow the show and like it, share it, subscribe, whichever way that you can do it on that platform. And let other people know, because we are trying to take the show to a high level. So definitely share it with people. Um, oh man, tonight we're going to talk about a couple of things tonight. Governor Andrew Cuomo, yes, he decided to give us 2 weeks notice. So he will be resigning in 2 weeks. And some other things that's going to happen after that. So just because he's resigning does not mean they're not going to still investigate it. So we will talk about that. Also, we did this topic last year. Michael McKinney do an update on that situation. He was the 26, I think he was 25 at the time, soldier that after leaving a Trump rally, he decided to shoot into a vehicle with all black young females in it and shot one in the leg. Well, he did plead guilty, and we'll go more into that story later on. And then also Blake Masters. Yeah. I don't know why his name didn't show up on here, but Blake Master, we'll talk about him too. Yeah, he claimed that anti-white racism is turning American children to self-hating. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. It started at home, but we'll talk more about that too. So hopefully y'all participate in the show. Let us know what you think about it. And as always, if it's a subject that you would like us to talk on, we can definitely do it. Not sure if someone is calling right now or if it's a person to call. But unfortunately, I'm not going to answer right now because I think I know who it may be. But I will have to call them back. So other than that, let's talk about Cuomo. He did a press conference today and announced he will be resigning in 2 weeks, which is really good. It's really, really good after the sexual harassment allegations that came out. He decided to step aside. Now, I don't agree if he done it. I don't agree with him on that. But one thing he said was, I'm going to step aside to allow the state to continue to be governed. So he made up with that, and that's really good that he's removing himself out the situation for the government could continue to run the state, and so that's definitely good on that part. So welcome to the show. Radio Chaos is in the house. Um, Asked why couldn't Como find a nice lady to date his own age? This approach he took never worked. Um, I I've had this discussion in private with some people, and the thing is, they brought up the fact that hey, with Como, it's kind of like um, he's single, but in order to meet someone, you have to talk to them. You gotta start a conversation or something. I don't know what type of conversation he had, but even after he announced his announced that he's resigning, it was still to the point he did not take blame for what happened. So I I don't know. A lot of put like this, a lot of guys once they get a certain age, they like a young woman. I I don't. I love my wife. So, what's going on? Marcella Smith said, "What's up, my people? It's the People Show with the Blackfish." Thank you for always supporting the show. Thank you for tuning in, a faithful listener. Been hanging with us for, if not a year, close to a year. So it's been a while. Him and Radio both, T Cal, and several other followers have been listening for some time. So I really appreciate y'all. Um, like I've told y'all in the past, it's gonna be some changes coming up soon. We're still working at all the details. So when we get to that point, we would definitely let y'all be the first to know. So, but we're not going nowhere. So don't think that we're not going nowhere. We still be here if the Lord say the same. So, this is according to CNN. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has announced he is stepping aside from his office. Cuomo called his impeachment investigation into him politically motivated, but added that he was stepping down because he would never want to be unhelpful in any way. I'm a New Yorker, born and bred. I'm a fighter, and my instinct is to fight through this controversy because I truly believe it is politically motivated. I believe it is unfair and it is untruthful. And I believe it demonetizes behavior that that is unsuitable for society. He said, "Come on, continue New York tough, mean New York loving, and I love New York, and I love you. I would never want to be unhelpful in any way." A New York State investigator released last week found Como sexual harassed multiple women and violated state law. Como has repeatedly denied the allegation, but today he has been too familiar with people and apologized to the women he said he truly offended. After the state report was released, President Biden, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, and more than two-thirds of New York State Senate called on Como to resign. Um, so I'm glad, I'm definitely glad he stepping down, but also if he did it, he need to be held accountable. That's where our justice system have to take a part in it, and I do what's right. Um, uh, okay, said yeah. I never had to. Who said that? Radio. Radio said I never had to. never had to keep in mind not to put my hands on people. It's just creepy doing that to people, especially ones you don't know very well. Exactly. I'm like this. I've always felt like if I meet someone back in my single days, let me explain that. My single days. Uh, um, I'm getting a text message. Um, okay. Um, I'm in my single days. I never was the type of person to come up. I'm not a touchy feeling person because I believe a person needs their space, and you don't want to violate someone um, by touching them or rubbing their hands or anything like that. You know, if it's not something that they really um, want to be a part of, you don't need to make them feel uncomfortable. So I'm glad he stepped down, and if these are true, he need to be held accountable just like anybody else. Um, so hopefully um, that can take place, and justice will be served in that. One thing about it, I don't care. You Republican, Democrat, whoever, what's wrong is wrong, what's right is right. And that's a lot of allegations that came out in with the investigation that they had against him. It proved that he could have allegedly violated at least 11 women. And to him, it may be a friendly gesture, but at the same time, you shouldn't do that. What if it's in a workplace or at a party, out in the street? You should not do that. Before you get to that point, you need to get to know that person and allow them to see where it goes. Just because you work with them and you think you know them or think you know exactly what they like or what they want, no, you in the workplace, that should be separate anyway. So um, so hopefully justice is served on that. But also with that, I believe it's I forgot the person that's going to take that position, but also New York will have a first black lieutenant governor. So that's a good thing out of it. Um, that may not help because you know the way boxing gloves are. Be talking about you want to feel my boxing glove? They're really soft, but they hard. They'll cut your skin. So I don't know. But either way, for those young ladies that had to experience um, this assault, I know New York. I believe it's New York policeman. One of the police department is investigating it, and I haven't seen anything about their about if they're going to criminal charge him or not. But they are looking at impeaching him. They definitely said that, and if he's impeached, um, he won't be able to run for a for another office uh, uh, in New York. So if he's in, well, anywhere actually, he won't be able to run for a public office anymore, which that's fine. They should have done it for Trump, and for the ones that were scared to do it against Trump, they should. They don't need to be in position either. So, but if that's the case, hey, and I got a good feeling they're going to impeach him for the simple fact. Um, it been too many things that came out about him over the last 3 to 4 months. The fact of uh, during the midst of the pandemic when it first started. He was on the news quite a bit, and then just 3 or 4 months ago, they've been talking about the death of the nursing home, how he handled that situation. So it's just a matter of time before um, people start putting negative eyes on you, and then stuff like this happen, and you gotta go. Um, well, at least it seems he didn't pay any hush money that we know of yet. So, because it been known, certain folks do pay hush money, and they pay it, and they don't want it to um, trying to keep their dirt in secret. So, um, but hey, it, time will tell. Time will tell. Because in being in a position like that, it may not necessarily be hush money. It may be positions, promotions, bonuses. It could be several things. So, um, but we don't know. It's still early, and um, so we'll figure it out. And once it all come out, once it's cleared out, and then we'll have an idea of exactly what's what. Um, no, they say it's three sides to each story. It's the truth, part of the truth, um, and most of it could be a lie. So, um, so we will see. Also, talked about I forgot Michael McKinney. Um, I guess this just came out today that but this incident happened. I want to say it was last year. Um, yes, December the 6th of last year. Michael McKinley just left a Trump rally and left that rally. He hyped up and seen a car full of young queens and decided to shoot into the car and shot one of them in the leg. Glad she survived. But um, the title is, and it's from the Roots. I tell you, I love the Roots, the way they break it down. White man get up to 10 years for shooting at a car full of black girls after Trump rally. um, excuse me. Um, this happened in Des Moines hour. Michael McKinley, 26, pled guilty in June to intimidation with a dangerous weapon and willful injured in December the 6th shooting he perpetrated after attending a Trump rally near the state capitol, according to the Associated Press. At some point, the girls and rally attendees was going back and forth with insults, and it didn't take long for the vehicle to be surrounded by Trump supporters. The girls apparently tried to back up and ended up hitting a pickup truck. That was when McKinney, who served in the U.S. Army and was wearing body armor and carrying several guns, shot into the vehicle and hit a then 15-year-old girl in the leg. He claimed he felt he was in danger and therefore protected himself. The girl, on the other hand, said in court that she felt in fear for her life that day. Des Moines Register reported. Here is some of McKinney's case per the AP. McKinney, who has been in custody since his arrest, apologized to the girl and said he used poor judgment that day. Authorities downplayed the political and racial content of the shooting, saying it grew out of a traffic dispute. The rally was sponsored by Women for American First, the pro Trump group that later hosted the January 6th rally in Washington, D.C. before the Capitol riot. Trump supporter criticized authority for charging McKinney arguing that his shot protected rally goers by scaring the car away, and nothing that McKinney freaking pro-police back the blue rallies. Yeah, and that's one of those situations we say all the time. It's a difference between two laws because if it was a black person just left a BLM rally, all of that would have came out. It would have been broadcast in 10 years, would have been more than what it would have been more time for him. Excuse me. The judge went easy on McKinney, according to the AP, because his lack of criminal record and honorable discharge from the military. His two sentences were ordered to run concurrently for a maximum of 10 years. Also, there is no mandatory minimum McKinney has to serve before he become eligible for parole. So they can give him parole today. Like I say, it's a difference. It's a difference. Um, Radio said this is obviously a guy who shouldn't own a gun, probably use it to open soda cans to with the barrel pointing up front toward his head. But he's a military vet and talking about due to his honorable discharge. That don't have anything to do with it with a crime. Just like all those veterans and active service members that took part in January 6th after they took an oath to protect and serve, but then you uh, um, committed a treason against the greatest country in the world. So yeah, that's the issue. That's the issue. Um, but hopefully, these young ladies do survive, and well, they did survive, but hopefully, that memory of what took place does not haunt them. Because being in a life and death situation where you've been surrounded by um, racist folks, and that's just jacked up. But you have to deal with that, and then you have one that would go and that would go and uh, shoot into a car, not caring if he kills someone or not. But then he want to apologize. That's why I said last night that most people they're gonna say all these cases where they getting a slap on the wrist from the January 6th incident. Um, they want to feel like they sorry, they crying, and what are they doing once they get out? Are they going back to their old ways? So I don't buy that. Let them cry all they want to. Serve them like you would anybody else. Um, so definitely, um, that's not that's not a good situation. So um, then oh, excuse me. Um, this other case I ran across, and I'm like, really, dude? Uh, so Blake Master, never heard of him. I haven't. Um, and this story came from the roots too. I love the way they come up with they highlights their stories. Snowflake, Arizona Senate candidate, is tired of anti-white racism. Yeah. Blake Master, 34-year-old venture capitalist running for an Arizona Senate seat. Arizona, y'all need to raise up. I have a lot of friends out in Arizona. Remember this name, Blake Master. Make sure you don't make it. Um, just can't stop crying into his money after a recent pity party in which he claimed that anti-white racism is turning American children into self-hating ultimate. It sounds like someone needs to Wambalams, not the ambulance, the Rambalams. According to Vice News, Master jumped into the fray to face Democratic Arizona Senate Mark Kelly. But weeks before he launched this campaign, he went on a rant criticizing critical race theory, which he claimed has made its way into American classrooms, which he already know is total bullshit. I love the way the Roots put it. Um, um, Too much of schooling in America has become a machine to uproot common sense and to replace it with something much more sinister. You heard about critical race theory, he said. All it does is teach kids to identify in racial terms, right? You are good or bad, depending on what you look like. I know I didn't just read that. Uh, you are good or bad depending on what you look like. I'm gonna say it again because that we'll come back to that one. But they say you are good or bad depending on what you look like. At this point, it's straight up anti-white racism. I don't think we're allowed to say that, but let's call it what it is. It is toxic and it does not belong in our school. We got to take back the schools and stop the doctoring masters continue. I'm still stuck on the thing. You are good or bad, depending on what you look like. Now, damn, isn't that racial profiling? Don't black and brown people have to deal with this on a regular basis? Because if we are black or brown, we're more likely to get pulled over by the cops that don't look like us and would assume we automatic up to something no good. But he goes on this rant, critical race theory. I don't know if it's just me, but for the last uh, several months, we've been hearing quite a bit about critical race theory. Matter of fact, the food that we have as a governor, Governor Greg Abbott, um, he don't want it taught in schools. He don't want the history of America taught in schools. They want to whitewash it and keep it out of the school because they're afraid that if enough people know about the history of America, it will change. That's why they don't want it taught. But then, because I'm gonna be honest, it's a lot of Caucasian folks that are coming up today that do not think like their parents, their grandparents, or anybody else. They actually want to make a change with everybody. But then you have certain people like Blake McKinney that want to do anything to win a race. But at the same time, he had to go low. He want to talk about critical race theory. That's what you hear most Republican talk about here lately, critical race theory. So he just following in that train. Don't get it confused. Arizona, y'all need to raise up and make sure he don't win that Senate seat. And make sure y'all send a message to him for the simple fact you're not gonna come up in here and try to brainwash folks. And it's amazing how a lot of these politicians, since Trump, they come in and they want to lie about certain things and talk about this, talk about that, but it's all lies. They brainwash people to believe in what they're talking about and start making them think like them. But when it's all said and done, we as the people need to think for ourselves. And unfortunately, some people too lazy to even think for themselves. They believe everything they hear on the internet, on these uh, conspiracy theory station, and they will run off with it.
They will believe that everything is right. I seen a rant today on Instagram. Some guy in the airport telling people pull their mask down. It's not real. This virus not real. Well, fool, why don't you go down to the hospital and visit people that are dealing with the virus, or talk to families that have lost loved one? Because apparently it haven't been close to your family, and you don't know anybody that have dealt with it personally. So the thing is, do not try to convince this whole entire terminal to pull their mask down. It's not real. Well, first of all, if you don't want to wear your mask, don't buy a ticket to get on a plane. And if I was the airlines, I wouldn't even refund your tickets, because you know the rules. You ride a plane, you need to wear your mask. You don't want to wear your mask, you don't get on. And guess what? We could have sold that ticket to somebody else who would have followed the rule, so it's no refund to you. So don't come with this um, theory that critical race theory. Y'all been doing critical race theories for years. You see a black person, you clit your purse and change the side of the street, or you would lie on them, get them arrested, or better yet, you may even lie on them and get them killed. Look at Emmett Till. Years later, she admits she lied. Nothing happened to her. But once again, you talking about it's about uh, judging folks by the way they look. That's what's causing the problems in the school. No, it's you and your ancestors that caused the problem. And all the rest of most of the white America from back then that had slaves, that killed our ancestors, or even um, turned around and raped our ancestors, or cut off our ancestor genitals because it was too big. It made you nervous. So don't come with that. Look at the fact of what caused it. Now, if it's not the truth, tell us it's not the truth. But we've been dealing with this for a long time. And because of that, now you upset. You want to try to run, and you trying to get these Trump supporters on your back to believe that it's actually an issue. But you caused the issue. Your ancestor caused the issue. America have caused the issue because they did not stand up and do what was right. So yeah, don't come with us about that bullshit. Um, so radio said in the future they will be teaching critical GOP theory, how people unburden themselves of common sense and live in a perpetual world of hypocrites. Exactly, because the problem is what people don't realize, and this is a sad situation. What a lot of people don't realize, just because of what's in the history book, that history did not stop. History is still being made today. Everything that we are doing, history is still being made today. As a matter of fact, I've heard people say many of years, you gotta be careful how you entertain strangers. You may be entertaining an angel. What if the Bible is being remade? Yeah, because you got to realize in the Bible, it was some crooked folks in the Bible too. So the thing is, history is continued to be made every day. If you want to believe it or not, it may not make the history book, but it's going down in history. This pandemic that we're in, it's going to be in the history book. The way that this pandemic was handled, going to be in the history book, regardless of how anybody feel. Somebody gonna vote it in there. It's gonna happen. Everything that we do is gonna happen. And with technology today, with social media, it's gonna happen. It will happen. Not just the pandemic. Look at it. What is it? 20 years for 9/11 finna come up? Well, guess what? History. Just because you don't hear about it going into the book, people remember it. We're going to continue to talk about things. That's why it's important that we continue to talk about the history of America for our kids will know the true history of America. Everything that we do is going to be in a history book. If it's not in the book, somebody going to have history of it. Somebody going to talk about it. So Blake McKinney, Michael McKinney, whatever your name is, uh, go on sit down way back in the back there in the back, way back, away from everybody else. Blake Master is his name. Blake Master. I'm looking at the wrong one. Blake Master. Go on sit down. This ain't gonna work. We understand you want to get elected. You want to get elected, but unfortunately, we're in a different state of mind. So it's not gonna work. Good shot though. I understand Arizona is a Republican state, but they shuck up some things last time. And with you coming in with this Trump theories, want to do things like Trump did, it's not gonna work. Go on sit way back in the back. As they started the story, go and go cry in your money. But go on, take a seat. Radio said the GOP should change their logo from the elephant to the steaming pile of BS. Exactly, because that's all they are. They full of it. They are full of it. That's all it is. Bunch of BS. They don't care about nobody but their self. Um, so yeah, Blake, mm, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Um, so so a lot of I had no intention on talking about it, um, but I'm a hit on it. Um, so a lot of cities are going against Greg Abbott executive order, they mask mandate, which they should. They should. For the simple fact, like I said last night and said before on the show, he never should have changed this executive order last year to benefit little Becky. And he did. He did. He did it to benefit her. And the problem is with once you laid your cards out, anybody else go against the executive order, you undermined yourself. You cannot enforce them and you didn't enforce little Becky. So trust me, he should uh, need to be held accountable. I wish they would um, wish they would impeach him. But the problem is we got two fools behind him. So, oh, um, while we talking about it, he have been sued. It's a couple of stories that came out on this. Um, he responded to one lawsuit. Response to lawsuit filed against executive order preventing mask mandate. He issued a statement Tuesday on a lawsuit that had been filed against his executive order and how it affects schools in Texas. Abbott office said that removing the ability or enforced mask mandate doesn't mean that people can't wear masks. The office reiterated that the COVID vaccine is still the most effective defense against the virus. Is it? Is it? Because there's a lot of people that have gotten the vaccine and also have caught the virus. Now, you should be protecting yourself by any means necessary. Continue to wear your mask, continue to wash your hands. And if you don't wash your hands, start washing your hands. Stop. I'm going to leave that one alone. Uh, Removing government mandate, however, does not end personal responsibility or the importance of caring for family member, friends, or your community. This read vaccines that are most effective against contracting COVID and becoming seriously ill. And we continue to urge all eligible Texans to get the vaccine. The governor that I said the governor. The COVID vaccine will always remain voluntary and never forced in Texas. In May, Abbott signed the executive order which prevents state-funded institutions from requiring masks. The order applies to all public school and university. It also blocked counties and city mandate. Governor Abbott has been cleared that the time for mask mandate is over. Now it's the time for personal responsibility. The statement read in part, parents and guardians have the rights to decide whether their child will wear a mask or not. Uh, just as with any other decision in their child's life. On Tuesday, the Harris County attorney announced plans to take legal action against Abbott ban on mask mandate. Kristen Menifee told KHOU 11 he is waiting for authorization from County Commission, which was on the agenda for Tuesday Commissioner Court meeting. San Antonio Mayor Ron Nierenberg announced via Twitter on Tuesday morning that his city was filing a lawsuit against Abbott in order to restore local control to address COVID-19. Hours later, a state district judge issued a temporary restraining order allowing San Antonio and Bexar County to mandate masks to a hearing on which is set for Monday. So I'm saying go against that order. Do what's best for you and the people that you are there to take care of. Because if not, if a child go to school and his parents say, I want my child to wear a mask. But if that teacher say, you can't wear your mask in the class, or I can't hear you, and the child will take the mask off. No, make it mandatory. Make it mandatory. Um, so um, so yeah, make it mandatory and go from there. Um, I'm sorry, I'm catching up on a message. Maricopa County has to get new electronic voting machine because the shame audit was messing with them and they can't trust the equipment anymore. I wouldn't trust them either. I would not trust them. Uh, so that would they should get new ones. Too many hands been in the fire. No telling what they've done to them. Marcella said, Greg Abbott is a fool. I agree. Yes, the vaccine with the mask is the best way to prevent it. Um, um, to prevent COVID. Yes, it is. As long as you get the vaccine, you are in a better position to fight it. Now, don't get me wrong. Just because you get the vaccine, don't let your guards down. Don't let it down because you can still get it. I know people that have had the vaccine that have also still got the virus. And at one point, it wasn't looking real good. So definitely get it and do what you have to do to protect yourself, what you feel that is best. But please don't get upset if somebody else come and say, um, don't get upset you see somebody else wearing a mask and act funny or if they don't invite you to their house no more. That's their choice. It doesn't mean they don't love you no more. Just the fact they protecting themselves, protecting their family. That's all it is. And speaking of that, it's kind of funny. I had a doctor's appointment today, and I tell you when I seen him last month, he was like, um, "Oh yeah, Kurt dog, you wearing a mask? You don't have to wear a mask in my office." I said, "Yes, I do. Uh, I don't care. I've been vaccinated, but I still don't know enough about this virus, so I'm gonna wear my mask." So today, I guess he had kind of a change of heart. He was like, I'm gonna say a half-ass change of heart, a half-ass change of heart, because he was like, "Hey, uh, Kurt, dog, had this virus affected anyone you know personally?" I'm like, "Yeah." He asked me how. I explained it to him, and he was like, "Man, over the last couple of months, I've been doing research on this virus. It been over 8,000 people died from it recently. Guess how many wasn't vaccinated?" I said, no, he asked, guess how many were vaccinated that died? Well, I don't know. He said it was 43 that was vaccinated that still died, but over 7,000 that wasn't vaccinated died also. I don't understand why people won't get vaccinated. I looked at him, I'm shocked because just couple of weeks ago when I seen you, you asked me about, oh, you wearing a mask in office? I'm sure am. But then he come back, he said, have you been vaccinated? I sure have. I sure have been vaccinated. He was like, man, that's a good thing. I wish everybody would get vaccinated. But then he started changing. I guess that Trump side came out, started talking about I guess he thought I don't pay attention to it. I don't know. But he started talking about when the virus started. He repeated some things that Trump said, but blamed it on somebody else. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But apparently he done came to his senses that it's best to get vaccinated. And while he's telling me I don't have to wear my mask in his office, I'm just trying to get up at your office. So trying to do what I need to do and roll out. So, but hopefully he continue to speak, uh, encouraging people to get vaccinated because you are a doctor. If anybody should know better, you should know better. Because I remember last month he started talking about when I mentioned to him about that church camp in Texas where all those people was affected. He said, "Oh, they just raised those numbers up." That's not true. But he had a change of heart today. So I shout out to him. He know who he is. Hopefully he stay on that path and continue to encourage people that he talked to get vaccinated. So uh, also what I seen with Greg Abbott. See, I told y'all Greg Abbott is not gonna he's gonna be forced to raise that mandate. He's gonna be forced. That's why the lawsuits are going. But then also today it came out. Texas Governor Abbott seek out of state help against COVID-19. Last week he just told the hospital that that's their responsibility. They need to pay for it out of their emergency fund or something. But now he's looking for help. Mm. So I don't know. I know they came out over the weekend uh, that a local hospital out in and Greenville and I forgot the other city, but um, one of the hospital closed an emergency room, and in order for them to deal with it, they sent their staff, most of their staff, over to Greenville to help with the pandemic. That's how crowded that hospital is. Um, it's Hunt Regional Hospital, which is it is small town. One is in Greenville, and one is just east of Greenville, Commerce. So they closed the emergency room down for Commerce for them to send that staff over to Greenville to help out with the COVID patient. And it's a dangerous situation, and they made it known because if somebody have a serious emergency coming out of Commerce, they have to come all the way to Greenville to get help, which is I think they said it was like an 18-mile drive. And if you're trying to get some serious medical help, that could be very deadly. Um, so hopefully they can get it under control soon. And I know a lot about Hunt Regional. When I was in the hospital, that's where I was. I wouldn't send a fish there. My opinion. That's my personal opinion. Um, and it better not be a black goldfish. You'll never get no water in your tank, won't get your food and everything else. So I'm just saying, is Hunt Region is not my cup of tea. But um, it was one story that I talked about last night, and I said I was going to find out about it. And I said the wrong city, that's why I couldn't pull it up. Um, Enda Walton out of Buffalo, New York, just won the primary for the mayor. And I kind of think she actually beat him, but I don't know if it's a runoff, but she beat the mayor that been there for a while. And of course, he won't concede. He don't want to give up that position. Young lady, very smart, intelligent young lady, went through stuff. And one of the things she said, I'm a great problem solver because I've had problems. I'm a great problem solver because I've had problems. And sometimes when you go through things, it make you a stronger person to be able to solve certain things. So with what's going on with uh, the current mayor or whatever, it's just not good. So if you up in Buffalo, definitely rally behind the sister. Very bright, intelligent young sister. I caught part of her interview yesterday where she said um, um, she said she actually dropped out of school. She got pregnant young, dropped out of school to take care of her kids, and but she see where some issues at. She was able to do what she needed to do to get in that position, so that's good. Um, Radio asked what happened to the governor before Abbott, the other idiot, Rick Perry. You know, Rick tried to get on with Trump, and that didn't last too long. Um, so him been kind of quiet. Him been kind of quiet. He don't want this type of smoke. He's not built for this type of smoke because uh, his nickname was Flick Rick. Yeah, Flick Rick. So yeah, I don't know. He might be somewhere allegedly getting a facelift or something. I don't know. Uh, no, she didn't say that. Now I'm a great problem solver. I create problems, so I know how to fix. Oh, that's what you're saying. Hey, but this young lady, I don't know how old she is. I don't know a whole bunch about her, but I thought about it right before we came on the show, and I was like, you know what? I need to at least identify her because she ran me crazy last night. I kept trying to figure out who she was and what city she was in, and I was saying the wrong city, but she's born and raised on Buffalo East Side as one of six children, and he became a full-time working mother at the age of 14. She earned a GED while pregnant with twins who were born prematurely, an experience that inspired her to become a nurse in the same nuke where her boys were saved, um, as a healthcare worker, and became a representative in the 1199 SEIU union, standing up for both workers and patients from picket lines in Buffalo to steps of the U.S. Supreme Court, where she was invited to speak at a National Women's Rights rally in 2014. Continued to serve as a black as well, continued to serve as a nurse in Buffalo public school, and to witness the health disparity among our most vulnerable citizen, and became determined to change the system that caused these injustice. And you're committed to systematic change. Called her to become a community organizer for Open Buffalo, establishing herself as a thought leader on a wide range of issues, including criminal justice reform and fair housing. Her work on the latter lead her to be named and founded executive director of the Fruit Belt Community Land Trust, for which she worked with longtime resident to develop premature affordable housing, permanent affordable housing. Um, have improved her passion for caring for people from infant to elder in the is real, and ready to be the next mayor of Buffalo. So shout out to this young sister. I don't know how old she is, but she looked fairly young. She looked fairly young. I don't I don't know her age, but if I had to say, I would say she's at least 35 to 38, maybe. So very young, smart, intelligent young lady. So shout out to her for taking a step to do what she see where the problem is and to take a stand on that. So shout out to her. So that's uh, really is good. Uh, COVID idiot. Florida governor wants to with. Oh yeah, we talked about that. Want to withhold salaries of workers. Yeah. Uh, um, but it was a story I ran across last night, and I thought I wrote it down. But let me see if I can find it. Which this is crazy. It actually happened back in I think it was July the 27th. Um, uh, hold on. I don't know what's going on. Uh, I could I can, cut off. Okay, here it is. Oh no, no, that's not it. That's not it. Cause I ran across this story. You know what? I think I sent it to Miss Risky last night. But this is crazy what this dude did, and people want to know um, why we talk about it so much. Um, oh, I'm on the wrong one. That's why that's not coming up. Hold on, real quick, cause um, mm, well, when you're trying to find something real quick, it's hard. Um, hold on, because I know I had it, and I cannot remember if I texted or if I just emailed it to her. Um, Golly, but anyway, a a perpetrator from the January 6th um, terrorist attack. Um, uh, Hold on, I think I found it. Okay, here it is. Yeah. Okay, I found it. How dumb can you be? How dumb can you be? This actually came on July the 15th. Prosecutor said a Capitol rider left a probation officer an obscene voicemail. Now his bail has been revoked. Um, yeah, that's it right there. A judge revoked bail Thursday for Capitol rider defendant Brandon Fellows, who would now be detained as he await trial. Ruling came after prosecutors said Felon left rambling and sometimes sustained voicemail for his pretrial service officer and was called her mother. Uh, her mother, um, which left both the officer and the mother feeling nervous. Fellows 27 had previously been released on bail while facing a 5-count indictment that included a felony charge of obstruction. He is accused of entering the office of Senator Jeffrey Merkley during the Capitol breach and was filmed propping his feet on an office desk while wearing a fake orange beard, prosecutor said. Prosecutor, let me go back real quick because the story I read last night when I got off there actually said while he had his feet propped up on the desk, he decided to smoke a blunt. So, um, so he got his smoke on while breaching the Capitol. Prosecutor had asked a judge twice to revoke his pretrial release, but the judge had previously denied both requests. On Thursday, Judge Trevor McFadden granted their third request, noting he can no longer give fellas the benefit of the doubt after his sustained pattern of behavior. So I don't think you're going to allow us to help you, Matt Fadden said. Um, Probation officer Kendra Brennan testified Wednesday that fellas had been problematic throughout their contact while he was released on bail. She said he had made sexual annoyance and frequent left her rambling overly long voicemail when he was asked to look for work. She said he applied to Albany FBI office what she thought to be sarcastic. One voicemail he left here on May 19th said, referenced the size of his genitalia and the performance of his genitalia. Rennie said that later Felon called their mother phone and asked to speak with Rennie, which she left was a purpose form of intimidation. It was intimidation. It was frightening. It made me nervous, she said, and added that she ultimately went to pick up her mother, who felt very uncomfortable about the situation. Rennie also said she identified a prior incident where felons had allegedly harassed a former girlfriend, and instead of listing his own phone number on court records in that case, he provided a number that forwarded to the office of a judge's wife. A prosecutor argued that fella has demonstrated a continued pattern of doing whatever he wants and when he wants. McFadden said that fellas had been lackadaisical about following his condition of release and had repeatedly missed his curfew and failed to call in for court mandate drug testing. Yeah. He also said fellas demonstrated sustained contempt for the government, noting that during his initial Zoom hearing, fellas wore sweatpants and ate breakfast on the call. And in the February sent a verbal email where he called the FBI agent fat neck. As recently as yesterday, McFadden felons was smirking and rolling his eyes during the hearing. McFadden said that while there was a mental health component to felons' behavior, fellas has brushed off the opportunity to attain mental health treatment despite the court effort. I'm not convinced that you are dangerous to the community, but I do think you're implosive, and I do think you're headstrong, and you're kind of gonna do what you want, what you're gonna do. McFadden said, I tried really hard to avoid having to lock you up, but after months of here, I don't think I can be at all confident that there's a condition, a combination of conditions that you're adhered to. Fellas addressed the court during Thursday hearing and apologized for being annoying. I wouldn't want to deal with me if I were on the opposite side, he said. Prosecutors said Thursday that they made fellas a plea offering, though has yet to accept a felon plea guilty to a single felon obstruction charge. Prosecutors said they would recommend a sentence of between 15 to 21 months. Slap on the wrist. Their sentencing recommendation include an enhancement for interference. Prosecutors said they would also not rule out pursuing additional sentencing enhancement for terrorism. Fellow defense attorney said they were still waiting to receive some discovery evidence in his case, including police body worn camera and personal files for Capitol Police. Personnel files for a Capitol Police officer, which she said could potentially be absolutely integral to preparing for his defense. So they asked him. Well, actually, I'm gonna read this. In a news story quoted in the FBI criminal complaint, fellas told a reporter that his bubbling dating profile was blowing up after he posted a picture of himself at the Capitol, and that he didn't expect to get in trouble for the Capitol breach because he saw that other riders who had made it inside the building were not being arrested. Did I think I was going to get in trouble? Fella said, no. So why would you offer him a plea deal? Charge this man like he should be. Don't give him a slap on the wrist. Charge this fool. You see, he's not going to do anything to solve it. Charge him. to the fullest in the law. Radio said there was a writer from January 6th who got his bail revoked when cops found lots of guns and a pipe bomb in his apartment. Yes, we talked about that. The idiot argued that the pipe bomb was only being used for training purpose. If I'm not mistaken, uh, we did this about a month or so ago. I think it was during the time when you was out. I believe he's either a policeman or a fireman. I'm not quite sure, but I think it came out he bought. Um, I think it was. I kind of want to say over 100 guns since his arrest, and it was a order that they was waiting for him to pick up from a gun shop that he had ordered, and they found pipe bombs in his house. But hey, people show you what they're gonna do. Pay attention to them. Do what you have to do to protect the people, the citizen, this country, because you giving them all these different chances, and the judge talking about, what I was trying to keep from locking you up. Would you do that with any other terrorist? Would you do that? Uh, exactly. That could be somebody else because I didn't read that part of it. That may be somebody else, but it was one we did a story on not too long ago that uh, purchased all these guns. I believe he was either a policeman or a fireman, and then he had bomb making material, pipe bomb making material in the in his home. And I was like, wait a minute, they found pipe bombs at Capitol Hill, so y'all didn't put two to two together. But the guns was purchased in his name, the guy that I'm talking about, because they was waiting for him to pick them up. And I want to say he has so many days to get rid of any type of gun, ammunition, and all of that after his arrest. That was part of his probation. But they came back and found some things. They still did not revoke his bail. And then come back, he also ended up doing it again. So I'm like, no, that's not good. So um, I don't know. Stop uh, feeding these folks with a silver spoon, and give them the charges they should get. And that's all to it. Charge them properly, and everything else will be okay. So um, tomorrow night, we're gonna see how it roll out. Like I said, there's some huge changes coming toward the show. So um, we will discuss that in the next couple of weeks or so, and uh, let everybody know some of the changes that is going on, and uh, and also I said I wasn't going to say nothing, but I keep hearing people talk about OJ. Go sit down somewhere. Um, go sit down because um, he came out yesterday, I believe. He refused to visit Los Angeles because he's afraid he'll end up sitting next to whoever did it. Shh, you gotta wait. Don't say nothing else. And that's all I'm gonna say. Don't say nothing else. I don't know if you did it, but that's a subject you should never talk about. You should never talk about. But hey, sometimes people keep talking and they'll tell on themselves. So I'm just saying. But other than that, hey, I appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. Hopefully, we'll see each other tomorrow night if the good Lord say the same. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time. Until then, I love each and every one of you. Please be safe. Be safe. This virus is no joke. Uh, it's definitely no joke. So definitely be safe. Protect yourself at all time. Wear your mask. If you haven't been vaccinated, like I told all aboard last night, hey, talk with your doctor. Any protection is better than none. And unfortunately, people don't realize this until they hit close to home. You got to look at your loved ones. Many stories came out. One person gets sick, and several family members get infected, and they all lose their life. So definitely protect yourself. Until tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time, I love each and every one of you. Until then, peace.